Would our board members please find their seats and our guests find a seat in the gallery?
Ready?
Not yet.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the recess meeting of the Will County Board for March 17th, 2016. Call this meeting to order. If we all would please stand. County Board Member Mike Frizzalone will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and then introduce the clergy for this morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to introduce today Deacon Chris McCaffrey from St. Bernard's Catholic Church, Homer Glen, a good Irish Catholic. On this St. Patrick's Day, Deacon Chris has been with the Diocese of Joliet for 5 years and lived in Homer Glen for 23 years. Chris is married to a beautiful young lady and has 3 children. He works full-time during the days as an architectural woodwork project manager. He's my friend and Deacon Chris McCaffrey.
Thank you, Mike. If you'd like to bow your heads, please. Father, please bring your blessings upon these men and women of the Will County Board who so tirelessly work to bring freedom to our neighborhoods, comfort the helpless, and keep our county growing and flourishing into one of the most desirable counties to live in here in these United States. Grant your blessing on these officials as they bring their hearts and their souls to this board meeting to help all of those who live and call home here in Will County. Father, we also ask for your hand to graciously take care of all those men and women who have served and given their ultimate sacrifice to this nation, either be in the military services, as a firefighter, a policeman, or a government official here in Will County. God bless them all. And on this feast day of St. Patrick's, let's give all those a blessing who have immigrated to this county, who now call this home. And it would not be without an appropriate thing to do on an Irish day of St. Paddy's, to say an Irish blessing. So may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rain fall upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for the table.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Sure. Mayor? Brooks? Howard? Ogala? Singer? Moran? Rice? Harris? Trenier? Benefield? Fritz? Freitag? Gould? Balich? Frizzalone? Winfrey? Parker? Staley Ferry? Babbage? Wilhelmy? Hart? Tumanello? Weigel? Collins? Ferry? And Mustis. Thank you.
25 present, 1 absent.
25 present, we have a quorum present. Entertain a motion to place on file the certificate of publication. Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Ferry. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Mayor? Thank you. Brooks?
Yes.
Howard? Yes. Ogala?
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trenier?
Yes.
Benefield. Fritz. Freitag. Gould. Balich. Frizalone. Winfrey. Parker. Staley Ferry. Babbage. Hart. Tumanello. Weigel. Collins. Ferry. And Mustis. Thank you.
25 affirmative.
25 affirmative, motion is carried. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of a recess meeting of February 18, 2016. So moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Brooks. Any discussion? Previous roll call by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Trainier. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried. We need a motion now to concur with the recommendations from the State's Attorney's Office in regards to our executive session minutes. Moved by Denise Winfrey, seconded by Mr. Howard. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Mayor. Brooks. Howard. Ogalla. Singer. Moran. Rice. Harris. Trainier. Benefield. Fritz. Freitag. Gould. Balich. Frizalone. Winfrey. Parker. Staley Ferry. Babbage. Hart. Tumanello. Weigel. Collins. Ferry. And Mustis. Thank you.
25 affirmative.
25 affirmative, motion has carried. Madam Clerk, would you please acknowledge the elected officials and the media that is present this morning?
Sure. Auditor Duffy Blackburn, Circuit Clerk Pam McGuire, County Clerk Nancy Schultz-Voots, County Executive Larry Walsh, Recorder of Deeds Karen Stucco, our Sheriff Mike Kelly, State's Attorney James Glasgow, and the media we have Farmers Weekly Review Nick Ryer, from Southtown Susan Lafferty, Herald News Lauren Leon Cross, WJO we have Monica DeSantis, and also Times Weekly is Brock Stein. Welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. First up, honorary resolutions and proclamations. First up, County Board Member Mr. Herb Brooks come forward, recognizing April as Fair Housing Month, and he has a proclamation to read.
You'll have to give me a moment. My Irish blood is flowing slowly today. Top of the morning to everyone. Chris White, I understand, couldn't be here today, but if there's anybody from the center want to come down and join us, you may do so at this time. Good morning. Recognizing April as National Fair Housing Month. Whereas April marks the anniversary of the passage of the Fair Housing Act in 1968, which sought to eliminate discrimination in housing opportunities and to affirmatively further housing choices for all Americans. And whereas individuals in the Will County and state of Illinois have the right to choose where to live without discrimination based on race, color, religion, age, gender, family status, marital status, national origin, industry, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, military status, unfavorable military discharge, and order of protection of status, and whereas the federal and state laws affirm that the right to every person in equal housing opportunity and legal barriers, no matter how subtle, diminish the rights of all, and whereas fair housing is a positive community good, providing economic stability, community health, human relations in all communities, the state of Illinois, and are improved by diversity and integration. Oh, those big words, those big words. And whereas the talent of grassroots and non-for-profit organizations, housing service providers, financial institutions, elected officials, state agencies, and others must be combined to promote and preserve integration, fair housing, and equal opportunity. Now, there it therefore be resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive hereby proclaim the month of April as National Fair Housing Month and establish Will County as an open and inclusive community committed to fair housing. Be it further resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive encourage all agencies, institutions, individuals, public and private, in Will County to abide by the spirit of Fair Housing Act and to promote appropriate activities by private and public entities intended to provide or advocate for integration and equal housing opportunities for all residents, prospective residents of Will County. Dated this 17th day of March, 2016, by County Executive Larry M. Walsh. And I so move.
And moved and seconded by Mr. Gould. All in favor signify.
I'm not good today, not today.
Second
Oh,
by.
okay,
Second.
okay.
Here, you run.
Tomorrow.
You run it.
Joe, you're doing a good job.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Thank you very much for this honor. My name is Maureen Poole. I'm the Operations Manager at Center for Community Concerns, and this is Marla Ramos, who is our Housing Programs Director. Chris White sends her apologies, Larry, but her first grandson was born at 12:02 this morning, so we have a little Irish baby at the agency. We'd like to thank Mr. Brooks, County Board Speaker, County Executive Walsh, and the entire board for recognizing Will County Center for Community Concerns during Fair Housing Month. We're fortunate in Will County to have our public officials, the business community, and our grassroots organizations building partnerships to ensure that Will County remains open and committed to fair housing and to advocating for equal housing opportunities for all of our residents. Our agency has enjoyed a strong partnership for many years with Will County Executive Larry Walsh and with Will County Land Use Department Director Kurt Paddock and with Ron Pullman and his staff to provide decent and safe housing for the residents of Will County. Thank you again for this recognition.
Now, if County Board Member Chuck Mayer would please come forward, recognizing the Neuqua Valley High School Competitive Dance Championship.
All right. Ladies, could you join us down here at the podium? It is really our pleasure. Suzanne and I both have had our daughters go through Neuqua Valley. I have one more to go through, and my wife works at Neuqua, and you have one there still. And so to have these young ladies join us here today is such a pleasure. Show of hands, how many have daughters? All right, how many of those daughters have been in dance? How many have had to take them to the hospital or treat injuries because of dance? Right? You guys could have a hand raised, anybody? This is a major sport. I don't think people realize how hard it is to perform the activities that these ladies do day in and day out, with all the practices, with all the events that they have to perform in, and then to be able to take state 2 years in a row. That's pretty amazing. State champions 2 years in a row for these ladies. Can I get a round of applause? Before I read the proclamation here, Sonia Rizazudico, how did I do? Okay. Would you like to try that?
Sure.
Go ahead. Rosetko. Okay, but there's okay, never mind. Too many letters. How would you like to introduce your team here before we go into the resolution? And the folks you brought.
Again, good morning. My name is Sonia Rosetko. I'm the head coach of this program. I'd like to take a moment just to introduce our dancers who are here, who have joined us. First, I have one of our coaches, Eileen Nidaborski. We have Fran. I can't see all of them. Nikki, Katie, girls, you could wave as Caitlin, Katie, Hannah, Sarah, Kara, Lindsay, Erica, Sophia, Nicole, and our athletic director, Barb Barrows. And on behalf of our team, we would like to thank you all for welcoming us here and recognizing our team for our state championship. Thank you.
Suzanne, would you say something? Okay, so to move this right along, the proclamation honoring the Neuqua Valley High School competitive dance team state champions. Whereas it is the intent of the Will County Board and the Will County Executive to recognize outstanding achievements of individuals and organizations in Will County, and whereas the Neuqua Valley High School competitive dance team placed first at the IHSA 3A Division Competitive Dance Team State Finals on January 30th, 2016 at U.S. Cellular Coliseum in Bloomington, Illinois, and whereas this is the second consecutive year that Neuqua Valley High School has taken first place in this dance competition, and whereas the success can be contributed to the commitment and dedication of the head coach, Sonia, and then her last name, and the outstanding coach staff and Neuqua Valley High School competitive dance team. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive thereby honor the Neuqua Valley High School competitive dance team for first place in the 3A division at the IHSA state competition. Be it further resolved that Coach Rosetko and coach staff and the coaching staff and the members of the Neuqua Valley competitive dance team be commended for this distinguished honor dated this 17th, happy St. Patrick's Day, March 2016, Lawrence Walsh and Nancy Voots, and I so move.
Moved and seconded by Ms. Hart. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
And as always, go Wildcats.
And we get a picture right here with these guys? Thank you. Barb, come up here. Barb Barrows has been doing such a great job at Neuqua Valley with all our athletic departments, and love to have her up here.
Now, if County Board Member Joe Babbage would please come forward, recognizing March 29th, 2016 as Welcome Home Veteran, Vietnam Veterans Day. Joe?
First of all, I'd like to say, is there any other Vietnam veterans in the crowd today? Pardon? Bruce, come on up here. Beyond a Vietnam veteran? Pardon? Yeah, greetings. Also, would Cindy Valencias and Bobby Boris please come to the podium? As they would say, you're surrounded by two seagoing bellhops. This is what they used to call the world's largest canoe club members. Okay, I have a proclamation today recognizing March the 29th, 2016 as Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day. Whereas the United States of America Vietnam War commemoration gives us the opportunity for all veterans to recognize, honor, and thank our Vietnam veterans and their families for their service and sacrifices during the Vietnam War from November 1st, 1955 to May 15th, 1975. And whereas over 9,000 organizations across America have joined with the Department of Defense as a commemorative partner to honor our nation's Vietnam veterans. including the Lewis Joliet Chapter, NSDAR, and many Illinois chapters of the National Society of Daughters American Revolution. And whereas the commemoration includes 9 million Americans with approximately 7.2 million living today who served in the U.S. Armed Forces during this period and makes no distinction who served in country, in theater, or were stationed elsewhere during those 20 years. All answered the call of duty. And whereas Veterans Affairs Secretary Ronald A. McDonald has designated March the 29th, 2016 as a day to honor those who have borne the battle and to extend gratitude and appreciation to them and their families. Now therefore it be resolved that the Will County Board of the Will County Executive hereby proclaim March 29th, 2016 as Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day. Be it further resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive recognize, honor, and thank our Vietnam veterans and their families for their service and sacrifices during the Vietnam War. Dated the 17th day of March, 2016. Moved by Larry Walsh, attested by Nancy Schultz Booth and Larry Walsh. I so move.
Second by Mr. Brooks. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Cindy Valencia, and I serve as the Illinois State Service for Veterans Committee Chairman for the Daughters of the American Revolution. On behalf of the Illinois State DAR organization, I would like to thank the County Board for supporting this patriotic endeavor. And I'd like to invite the citizens of Will County to join us in honoring our Vietnam veterans for their service and sacrifices with two simple phrases that are sorely overdue. Thank you and welcome home.
Thank you to the Executive Board. I'm Bobby Borbis. I'm the Vice Regent of the Lewis Joliet Chapter of the DAR. I would like to thank you all, first of all, for this proclamation. In 1890, Eugenia Washington, who was one of the founders of the DAR, stated, "We want a patriotic society founded on service." And who exemplifies the qualities of patriotism and service more than our veterans? On March 29th, we will join thousands of commemorative partners across the country to honor those who answered their country's call and served during the Vietnam War. And these brave men and women will finally get the homecoming they deserve. As Cindy said, this may be the first time some of them have ever heard, "Welcome home," or "Thank you." Right here outside this building, the Lewis Joliet chapter of the DAR would like to invite you and all your friends and veterans to honor the veterans who served during the Vietnam era with a special commemorative flag-raising ceremony. This will be held on Tuesday, March 29th at 7:30 a.m. right here. At 5 o'clock, there will be a commemorative flag lowering ceremony. And again, please join us to pay tribute to the men and women who served their country. All veterans, especially Vietnam veterans, are invited to attend this commemorative event. Again, thank you to everyone for this proclamation. This means so much to us. Thank you.
Now, County Board Member Judy Ogala read a proclamation recognizing May 10th, 2016 as Healthcare Worker Appreciation Day in Will County. Ms. Ogala.
Thank you. As a Chair of Public Health and Safety, I recognize the hard work that these employees do every day, and they do it with such care and grace. It's really amazing. So I'd like to read into the record, recognizing May 10th, 2016 as Healthcare Worker Appreciation Day in Will County. Whereas healthcare organizations of the Chicago area, including Will County, are dedicated and committed to providing high-quality care for their communities. And whereas all members of the healthcare team, nurses, allied health professionals, support staff, financial services, personnel, administration, physicians, and volunteers are recognized as a vital component to providing the very best health care available. And whereas these individuals' contributions not only enhance but reinforce the well-being of communities throughout Will County. And whereas the more than 200 hospitals and healthcare systems that are Illinois Health and Hospital Association members wish to express their thanks and appreciation to healthcare workers for their unwavering commitment and contributions at work and in their communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive do hereby proclaim May 10th, 2016 as Healthcare Worker Appreciation Day in Will County. Be it further resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive urge all residents to recognize the many contributions of healthcare workers. Dated this 17th day of March, 2016, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Ogala, second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried. Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
All resolutions from the February 18, 2016 County Board agenda have been signed by the County Executive. Moving on to our first committee, Land Use and Development Committee, Mr. Weigel, Chairman.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Tom.
First item is a public hearing for land use cases. I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Mayor? Yes. Brooks?
Yes.
Howard? Yes. Ogala? Yes. Singer? Yes. Moran? Yes. Rice? Harris? Yes. Trenier? Yes. Benefield? Yes. Fritz? Yes. Freitag? Yes. Gould? Yes. Balich? Yes. Frizzalone? Yes. Winfrey? Yes. Parker? Yes. Staley Ferry? Yes. Babbage? Hart? Yes. Chiminello? Yes. Weigel?
Yes.
Collins? Yes. Ferry? Yes. And Eustis. Yes. Thank you.
24 affirmative.
24 affirmative. We are in public hearing. Please be advised, absolutely no new evidence or information will be allowed once this land use public hearing is closed. We have one case today, case number 6261. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak on this case? Yes, sir. Okay, come on down.
Pardon? I think so.
You didn't sign in. Yes, right over here at the podium. Just state your name.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Randy Dodd. I'm a resident of Crete, Illinois, and live immediately across the street from the property that is in question. I am here on behalf of the neighbors. I would like for you to imagine for a moment coming home one afternoon and seeing all the trees, and I'm talking about hundreds of trees being taken off of the land, cut down systematically. And these were not small little trees or bushes. These were trees that were mature, that reached 40 to 60 feet high, and they were coming down very, very quickly. There is not a stick remaining in acres and acres of land. No permits were pulled. There was no consideration whatsoever for the laws of our community or the consideration of the environmental impact it would have on our community and on our street. All of the homes in that area have wells in which we draw our water to live on, and there was zero consideration for us in the impact that first of all, taking the trees off of the land, and then ultimately the plan of paving everything there and changing the use of the land from residential to industrial, and the impact that it would have on the land for the community. And there has been kind of a systematic history with this particular builder and developer, a long history of doing things and then getting permits later. That seems to be the mode of operation over a number of years. And this seems to be yet another event just like that. On behalf of the people who live on Norfolk Road, and there are many of us, and I have on file with the county more than 50 signatures of the neighbors in the area. They are all requesting that ideally this would be stopped completely, but at the very least weighing the environmental impact, which has yet to be determined, on the community.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
For your comments. Is there anyone from the general public, anyone else wishing to talk on this case 6261? Anyone else from the general public wishing to speak?
Larry, I'd like to make a comment.
Oh, Mr. Weigel, please go ahead.
The county does not have a tree ordinance, and there's no requirement that they get a permit to remove trees on their own property. It's property owners' right to do with their property whatever they wish. So the county does not have any ordinances against that. So it wasn't an illegal move on the part of the property owner.
Thank you. Any last questions from anyone from the public? Bill? Mr. Weigel?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Ballage. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Mayor? Brooks? Howard? Ogalla? Singer? Moran? Rice? Harris? Trainier? Benefield? Fritz? Freitag? Gould? Ballage? Frizzalone? Winfrey? Parker? Staley Ferry? Babbage? Hart? Tumanello? Weigel?
Yes.
Collins? Ferry? And Mustis. Thank you.
25 affirmative. Public hearing has been closed. Mr. Weigel, please continue.
Okay, we have one case today, 6261-MS. This is a zoning map amendment from R2 to I1. This is the subject that the party just talked about. The committee recommends approval. There is a requirement, there is a 6-foot berm along the residential side of the property, and also a 6-foot fence on top of the berm. And also, we doubled the number of trees that need to be planted along this berm to help screen the property from the residents. So I'll make a motion to approve the zoning change.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Tumanello. Questions? Mr. Howard?
Do I press the speaker?
You're on.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Executive. We had a lot of discussion at land use regarding this particular development there. It is a permitted use in this area. But there was a lot of discussion about and consideration for the residents that lived adjacent to this. I'm personally familiar with the area. It's actually a beautiful area along Western there. It's a lot of forest, a lot of trees, but it's also mixed use. There's an industrial development right across the street from there. There's also industrial just a little bit south of there. There was discussion about the removal of the trees, and then it was agreed upon by the developer to increase the number of trees and actually mitigate, that the best that he could and still develop the property. There's one issue that I would still suggest that the developer and the would get with the property owners, and that was regarding the color of the buildings. That actually came up in land use. If we could possibly do something with a more neutral color, basically the buildings are red there and they do stand out. I mean, it's probably a good move business-wise because you notice that they're there, but at the same time, out of respect and consideration with the neighbors, make it less unobtrusive in that area. So I suggest that the developer would get with the adjacent property owners and address any other concerns. And again, this is a permitted use, so I will be voting for this, but again, I strongly urge for the developer as a good neighbor to get with the other neighbors in the adjacent residential area there and address any additional concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Any other comments? Any other comments? Mr. Tumanello.
Thank you. This was discussed quite extensively at the committee level. Understanding that the residents had come home one day and basically were in shock because their view was once one of trees. They came home and found it pretty much a vacant lot. In response to that, the committee had asked the petitioner to double the amount of trees on the property. So every 30 foot, instead of having one evergreen and one other type of tree, they're going to have two of each. This seemed to be satisfactory with the residents that were there. As far as the color, I do not agree with Mr. Howard because of the fact that when you have a 6-foot berm with a 6-foot fence on top, that's 12 foot. The individual that lived across the street would not be able to see the building because the colors that they're talking about, the ribbon, is going to be approximately 10 feet above grade. So with the berm and the fence, you will not be able to see the red and the blue stripe that matches the logo and the other existing buildings that are on the property.
Thank you. Mr. Trainier.
I don't have a dog in this race. It's not in my neighborhood. And I understand what Mr. Tumanello is saying about the fence, but is there anything in there to keep the guy from painting the fence red or chartreuse yellow? It could end up looking worse than what the existing buildings look. So I just wanted to say for the record, just because they're putting a fence up, that's not going to block a view of anything.
Mr. Howard?
This is an addition to an existing business there now. Yes, you can see the buildings that are adjacent because there's an old part and a new part. So what we're doing is we're addressing the condition in the new part, but the old part you can see as plain as day. I mean, literally, and you will continue to see that plain as day. So again, I'm very familiar with the area. So, and yes, it is shocking that they did lose the trees, and I do understand that, but at the same time, it is the property owner's rights to cut the trees down. But it is an area, and it's mixed, and I think good neighbors can get along that way. I mean, that basically that's my view on it. And yes, it is industrial and residential, and sometimes you have to coexist. And at the same time, let's work it out as neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moran.
On page 7 of 19, under paragraph B, additional information, one of the things I believe this is a staff report, says that the applicant will be required to obtain building and site development permits for all new construction. I see that there is an open-ended correspondence in here with the Army Corps of Engineers. Can somebody tell me if that's resolved or if it will be resolved as part of the process for them getting their building permits?
That will be addressed. It's still pending, but it will be addressed.
Thank you.
Any other final questions? Ms. Ogala.
Yes.
Can't hear you, Judy.
Larry,
Sorry.
Larry, you have to take
She's
their
on.
mics
She's-
off before hers will go on. You can only have 3 on at a time.
All right.
Okay. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
There
Now
you
you
go.
can, now I'm red.
There
Okay, I
you
guess
go.
when I'm green, you can't hear. What did you do? Okay. I just was saying that I do sit on land use as well. We did have the residents come before us at the committee meeting and discuss the issue of the trees being cut down. We don't have tree preservation ordinance in Will County, so therefore the landowner has the rights of owning their private property and cutting the trees down himself. I know how hard that is to look at, living across from trees myself. I would hate for them to be cut down. But the landowner has the right in Will County to do that. We heard the different things that they said at committee. We did go forward and make them and put more trees and everything like Ray had said. And they did bring up the issue, land use brought up the issue of the color of the buildings. There was no discussion amongst county board members at that regarding the color of the buildings at that time, and perhaps if there was, we would have made a different decision on that. I do know that the landowner seems very willing, he was very willingly agreed to the changes we made at committee without any further discussion or anything, so I just wanted to put that out there, that we did discuss it in length, we made all these different points. The trees that are agreed will be on the outside of the fence, so that the landowners will have these trees to look at, and eventually it will be a nicer view than they're currently enjoying today. That's all.
Thank you. No further discussion. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Mayor? Brooks?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Ogala?
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice? Harris? Trinier? Benefield?
Yes.
Fritz? Freitag? Gould?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Frizzalone?
Yes.
Winfrey? Parker? Staley Ferry? Babbage? Hart? Tumanello? Weigel?
Yes.
Collins? Ferry? And Mustis. Thank you.
24 affirmative, 1 abstention.
24 affirmative, motion has carried. Mr. Weigel?
For this same case, I make a motion to allow a special use permit for self-storage facility with 4 conditions. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Hart. Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Babbage, second by Ms. Staley Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Reagan, do you want to abstain?
Okay, thank you.
Motion is carried.
That concludes my report. Our next meeting will be April 12th.
Thank you, Tom. Next up, Finance Committee, Mr. Frizzalone, Chairman.
Top of the morning to you, Will County, and we're going to start off with some financial reports to put on file. We have the Illinois Department of Revenue showing a sales tax remitted to Will County for the month of December 2015 to be $1,580,803.57. The RTA tax received is $1,909,045.11 for a total of $3,489,848.68. And we also have the Will County Monthly County Treasurer Report dated January 31st, 2016. I move to put both of those on file.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Collins. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Okay, we have...
Oh, Reagan, you want to be a yes on these?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have 16-51, increasing compensation for judges of election for the March 15, 2016 general primary and all future elections, and they did a fabulous job.
Yes, they did.
And I so move.
Yep.
They did.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Mr. Howard?
I'd like to just take this opportunity to comment, Clerk Boots, on this. I mean, this was a tough election. You were throwing a curveball at the last minute. The best you could do or whatever. Actually, personally talking to a lot of election judges out there, a lot of different opinions or whatever, but it's a tough thing. I mean, welcome to the 21st century with the computer system and the laptop. Some people seem to acclimate them like ducks to water, and some people, oh, well, they might not go into water anymore. But anyway, you did a great job.
Thank you.
You know, and again, being involved with those discussions, I understand, you know, it's hard to make a big change like this, but I think in the future, you know, it's going to be positive. So thank you again. So.
Like I said, I wasn't for having the voter registration at all 300 polling places, because all it did was cause lines at the polling places, and they put more and more responsibilities on my election judges. And I'm at the point to say enough is enough, because it's all about the integrity of the election process, and we keep adding more and more to their responsibilities, unfunded mandates once again, and the judges are, people are watching them. How would you like to be one of the election judges where you're trying to register a person and then there's 50 people in line and people get upset over nonsense? They didn't get an I voted sticker, whatever the case may be. So I want to say, put all of us in their position. How would you like to be sitting at that table and doing this? And we did send 2 poll books to every single polling place, and one of the poll books was supposed to be for the person that's registered to vote, and the other poll book was supposed to be for the people that weren't registered to vote. But what caused problems with the people that were registered to vote, they were being turned away. So all this is voter suppression. So I'm truly upset about this law. And like I said in the past, and all of the county clerks are upset about this law. We should have had, there's 24 townships in Will County, and what we should have had is, at our larger townships, maybe had 3 or 4 of them that they would go to just those locations, and then we could have had better technology at those locations. But to have them at 300 polling places was not needed. So, and I'm worried about November, because we only have 27 staff members in my office to mandate all these phone calls that are coming through. We're not only dealing with election judges, but we're dealing with close to 400,000 registered voters in Will County. So I hope they don't pass any other laws for the November election. So that's just my opinion, but I do want to thank my election judges. I do appreciate you saying that, and I do want to thank my staff. My staff did an excellent job. I have a great team, and those election judges and my field techs and all the people in the county that helped us get through the election. So thank you.
Ms. Ogala?
Thank you.
Ms. Ogala, did you have?
Yeah, I do, yes. Nancy, I just wanted to say you guys did a fabulous job training.
Thank you.
I went in to vote, and one of the printers wasn't working. And I called your frantic office that was handling so many calls. And one of the guys you had talk with me helped me walk through and make that printer able to work. So you guys did a great job. You were calm. And my election judges, where I was voting, did a fabulous job with all the new training that they had. I think you guys did a great job, and I think you guys all should be commended for the work that you've done.
And I'm encouraging all of our residents to take advantage of vote by mail, because then nobody has to wait in any lines. And I've been saying this over and over. You can vote at the privacy of your kitchen table, and you're also educating your children to how important it is to vote. So we could automatically, right now, we can start taking vote by mail requests for the November elections. So take advantage of that. So nobody has to go to the early voting sites. Nobody has to wait at the polling place. So request your absentee vote by mail ballot now, so we don't have lines at the polling place on election day. And and if you are a registered voter in Will County, it is your responsibility to keep your voter registration updated. Just if you move from an apartment, you have to change it. You can't just drive down the road and think that you could go vote into a polling place that is not your polling place. So please update your voting information now. Let's not wait till October or November. Let's do it now. That's what I'm planning on doing. And I've worked well with the press. I want to thank my press too, because they also were doing press releases for us to get this to happen. So I'm proud of Will County. We did well in Will County. So thank you. And Jim, your staff too. I want to say Mary and Phil did an excellent job.
Mr. Mustis?
Nancy, I just want to echo some of the comments from folks here today, that your election judges did an extraordinary job. But on election day, I probably visited about 15 polling places in my township. And you're right, this register and voting the same day created lines, and my observation was probably more people walked out and didn't vote because of the line that the people who didn't register in a timely manner. So if this whole law was to get more people the opportunity to vote, it had just the opposite effect.
You're
and I mean, there was more than a few. I was in one. It was probably a little later, maybe 5:30. There was 75 people in line. They just all start walking out.
Mm-hmm. And we had, anybody that was in line to vote at 7 o'clock, they were entitled to vote. So, but they had to wait, and then we closed the doors, but they were entitled to vote. So that's why the polls, and all the candidates, all the press, the polls close at 7 o'clock, and they want the results at 7:30. They think we're going to be done at 7:30. Well, now the longer the lines, that's going to take us longer, which is fine. We want to make sure the integrity is always there. But that's why the election results were a little later in March, because of same-day voter registrations too. Because the judges had to close up more equipment, and we also had to take care of those voters in line. Since I've been in office, we've implemented 3 new technology. We have our optical scan system, we have a system for our disabled, which is called the Automark, and now we have poll books. So the more that we keep adding on to our judges, the more chances of errors are going to happen too. So I said, the judges, there's enough for them to do, and they can't get there at 3 o'clock in the morning. They get there at 5 o'clock in the morning in order to get the polls open at 6. But if we keep adding more and more to them, they're going to have to get there at midnight in order for us to start voting at 6 o'clock. So,
I mean, my township, those judges were there late.
I know.
We were probably one of the last townships to get our stuff, but we had really long
but I'm
lines.
already working on ways that we could even improve. I did additional mailer too to our residents so they could take advantage of vote by mail and also register to vote. But you could only do so much. This is a huge county. I mean, this is huge. But overall, we did a great job. So I'm glad it's over, to be honest with you.
Well, it was the first time. It's always the toughest.
Yeah, and you saw when you came into the building here, you saw how we had the poll books. They had hands-on training. They watched a DVD, and they were even able to take that DVD home with them so they could watch it again, so they refresh themselves with their manuals. So thank you, election judges. I appreciate it.
My observation, that wasn't the problem. You know, some judges maybe do have a little tougher time with the technology, but that didn't seem to be the problem. It's just the time it takes.
It's the time. You're right, Jim. It's all
It
about the
takes.
time. So I'm glad I'm here for this resolution.
They should be put in a separate line, actually.
So I'm glad I'm here for this resolution, so I hope everybody votes for it. Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I think it's important that we go back to the legislature to find out if there's some changes that we could make in this law. We have so many of our constituents are giving us feedback on how the lines were problematic and everything that's been said. One of the things that I found is I was given a federal ballot when I went in. And so I turned the ballot over and it was blank, and I'm like, I don't think this is the right ballot. So, and there were several people that had been given the ballots as such. So there is folks out there that did not get a chance to vote because our guys were overwhelmed, I think, at some level, and were making these kind of silly mistakes that I don't normally see.
Well, at least you were aware of it before you put it in the ballot box.
Well,
I hope.
It's a good thing that I'm able to be aware of it,
Yeah.
because other people were given that ballot and they were called back. They were ready to just put it in.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I've been doing this for a little while, so I knew the difference. And so I really think that we need to, your organization and other counties, I think we need to do a review of what happened here. And we should get some new laws passed before November, but those laws should be to clean up this process, not add to it.
Senator Batnick called me yesterday, too, because he was the one that wanted to get the bill changed. So I already had a conversation with him yesterday. So,
Representative Batnick?
yeah. Yeah, Representative Batnick. So I know, and all the counties in the whole state of Illinois is going through the same process. So
not only did we
concerns.
have a number of people that didn't vote, we have a number of people that didn't vote accurately. And so,
well, the voters have to take some responsibilities too. And they received a voter information guide that had a sample ballot.
understood, Nancy, that's not my point, okay? We have a number of people that didn't vote, and we have a number of people that didn't vote accurately. Whether we blame whoever we blame is not the issue here. The issue here is that there are candidates out there that could have been in races, and we've seen them here in this county, where the race was won or lost by 10 votes. And when 25 people walk out of a polling booth, or if 10 bad ballots get handed out, you've now skewed an election, and that's a problem.
Right, and that's where we say enough is enough.
So that's why I think we need to make sure that we get some changes in this law down there in Springfield and get this better equipped
I
for
agree
to
with
handle
you.
this.
Thank you.
Ms. Trainier?
Nancy, I just wanted to say you did a really good job. The only thing I would add is that I think some of the judges might have benefited from a little hands-on time with the equipment.
They did have hands-on.
Did they?
Yes,
Okay.
they did. They came to I was here, our staff was here all weekend long. When the holidays were the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and
Sure.
Monday, we were here training 200 judges at a time, and we had hands-on for them to, that's what you saw on the poll books. That's what was going on
I
here.
saw them out there, but I got the impression, and maybe they had hands-on, but a couple of the judges just suggested that they needed more time. That was the only thing. They did a great job at my precinct, despite having a package of ballots from the printer that didn't have the backside. They caught it right away on the first voter.
That's a
So it was
different ballot
very
cells.
good. The judges were on top of it. The voters were on top of their responsibility. We registered over 50 new voters at my polling place. They did fine. I will say, they didn't get lunch, they didn't get to eat any pizza, but they got the job done. My only question to you would be, is there any prohibition on another voter registrar being present to assist with voter registration?
All that costs money. Unfunded
No,
mandates.
I'm a voter
No,
registrar.
you know what it is? Everybody likes to volunteer. Even my election judges, everybody says, yes, I want to do it. We had cancellations, we're getting cancellations right
I
before the
heard.
election because
heard.
people think it's a great idea, but once they come to the class and see how much they have to do, they have to get up at 4 in the morning and work all the way till after 7, 8 o'clock at night. They said, no, I'm not going to do that, and especially when everybody's in the attack mode to attack the election judges, too.
Right. No,
So,
no.
and I said, that's why we need to work with the parties. This is what we need to do. We need to work with the parties on both sides of the aisle, and that's what precinct committeemen are for, to give us some judges that will want to work. And they say, get younger judges. Okay, yes, we want to get younger judges, but give us some names of good judges that maybe your friends, your relatives that want to be election judges. And they might show up, they might go to the class, they might take the extra measure to be trained. So that's why I want to work with the parties to make sure that we do have good election judges. It's easy for everybody to sit there and say you should do this and should do that, but we could use some help to find some good election judges.
Nancy, I wasn't suggesting you should do anything.
I'm just saying, that's what I
had
hear.
the question, is it okay for a voter registrar to be there?
No.
And assist with
Because
voter
we have
registration?
to have somebody, when we have the election, we have to have somebody from the beginning of the morning, they're taking an oath of office.
I got that. I just wanted
So
to
they-
ask that question.
No.
That was my question.
Yep. No.
Okay? So
Thank you.
if no is the answer, no is the answer.
Thank you.
But nobody walked away from my poll without voting. They all stayed, and we were done at about 7:45.
Yeah, they did a remarkable job. Thank you, everybody.
Mr. Benefield?
I didn't ask for a fucking speech.
Yeah, you should be on.
There we go. Thank you. Nancy, I just want to say thank you for your hard work. I know
Thank
that I
you.
saw the machines were out here for quite a while, and I just want to thank you for the time that you put into that. My question is do we have the data back on how many newly people registered and voted on the same day?
I'm working on that right now as we speak. I'm going to be doing a press release and letting everybody know, the whole county and the press, of how many registrations we actually took at each voter each precinct. So each precinct will have an update of how many voter registrations we actually took, and then we could do a study to see how much this actually cost our taxpayers for implementing this law.
Thank you.
And also, I'm doing a study on my election judges, too. And my election judges, like you said, they were great. But we lost a few of our election judges because of this, too. So when I send them their paycheck, I'm also going to be sending them a verification, asking them if they want to come back for November, so we could start working on getting our judges for the November election.
Thank
So,
you, Nancy.
But everybody will get the news, because I'm going to do a press release.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Ms. Hart?
Okay, I will make this short, and yeah, thanks, Nancy, this was definitely difficult for you. But as you speak about the legislation that is out there from Representative Batnick, it's House Bill 2938, and what we need to do now, we need to get this on to for legislative discussion and have you come in and discuss the details, because what this is proposing is, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the language, and we might have to kind of talk to him, because it was making it sound like there'd be one place on Election Day that you could register. Now, I was under the assumption that it was one place each township.
That's what I wanted.
That's what I would, right, and I think that would be of going, this is, and it would only make sense. So we need to get maybe a little bit aggressive into, in my
I plan
committee.
on coming to legislative, and
Yes.
like I said before, I believe like the Joliet Township, Wheeland Township, Frankfurt Township are bigger townships. We need to have more than even just one there.
Yeah, and
You
that's
need to have
exactly, we
more.
could do it by population. So
Right.
maybe we can go ahead and we can, talk with Hassert and Curry about maybe getting a little bit more involved in that. I don't think we kind of dissected it nearly, as we should have. So we'll go ahead and make this a topic, and we'll see you at legislation next month.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
So, we got motion and a second on the floor. Motion for previous roll call. Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Mayor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank your election judges when you give them the raise. Next up, 16-52, the ordinance authorizing the issuance not to exceed $275 million general obligation bonds, alternative revenue source of the Will County for the purpose of financing public improvement projects, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Ogala. Discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next up is 16-53, increasing the Planning and Zoning Commission compensation, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Collins. Any questions? Mr. Mistis?
I would just like to maybe have a little explanation why we're increasing it, or I can explain it.
I can explain it.
Yeah, why don't you explain it?
Yeah, so basically what's happening is we're taking, and Planning Commission and the next ordinance as well, they were being paid as a contractor. A contractor can get mileage per diem. By law now, we can't do that, so they're going to become employees. So all we're doing is taking what they were getting as mileage, putting that together in salary, so there actually is no increase in their compensation. We're just switching where the compensation comes from, because they now are employees.
Okay, any other questions? Mr. Howard?
I got a technical question on that. As an employee, are we going to be paying unemployment insurance and stuff on them? As a standard employee, how does that work? Because that always...
Yep, payroll.
Mr. Frizzalone?
Yep.
You have a...
Answer is yes.
Answer is yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Motion and second in discussion. Any more discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Freitag. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
And next up
How
for
about
this...
Mr. Singer, would you like to be a yes or yes?
Thank you.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Next up is 16-54, same scenario, increasing the Merit Commission board members' compensation, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Tillmanello. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Next up is 16-55, increasing appropriations in the River Valley maintenance budget. This is due to moving the maintenance crew from PBC to county employees, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Rice, second by Ms. Trainier. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
16-56, authorizing a temporary loan from corporate fund to the Health Department fund, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Freitag. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
And next up is 16-57, transferring and increasing appropriation of various county budgets to fund year-end shortfalls. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Mr. Moran. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
That's all I have for today, and our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for April 5th, 2016 at 10 a.m.
Thank you very much, Mike. Next up, Public Works Transportation Committee, Mr. Gould, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive and fellow
morning,
board
Don.
members. I'd like to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. I first have Resolution 1658, confirming an award of contract to Preform Traffic Control Systems Limited, led on February 17th, 2016, for the countywide striping, all county board districts. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Moran. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 1659, for improvement by the county under the Illinois Highway Code for countywide striping, all county board districts using MFT funds. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Collins. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Trainier, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 1660, confirming an award of contract to Denler Incorporated, led on February 17th, 2016, for countywide crack sealing, all county board districts. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Ogala. Any question? Previous roll by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Babbage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 1661, for improvement by the county under the Illinois Highway Code for countywide crack sealing, all county board districts using MFT funds. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Balich. Any question? Previous roll by Ms. Fritz, second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Resolution 1662, confirming an award of contract to Deconstruction, led on February 17th, 2016, for Shanahan-Manuka Road over the DuPage River, County Board, District 6. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Freitag. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Howard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 1663, a resolution for improvement by the county under the Illinois Highway Code for Shanahan-Manuka Road over the DuPage River, County Board District 6, using MFT funds. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Freitag. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Trainier, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 1664, confirming an award of contract to P.T. Farrell Construction, led on February 17th, 2016, for Wilton Center Road from Route 52 to the Wilmington-Peatone Road, County Board District 6. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Freitag. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Staley Ferry, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 1665, for improvement by the county under the Illinois Highway Code for Wilton Center Road from U.S. Route 52 to Wilmington-Peatone Road, County Board District 6, using MFT funds. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Freitag. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Hart, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 1666, confirming an award of contract to Iroquois Paving Corporation, led on February 17th, 2016, for Kankakee County Line Road from Will Center Road to Illinois Route 1, County Board District 1. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Howard. Any question? Previous roll by Ms. Ogala, second by Mr. Ballage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 1667, for improvement by the county under the Illinois Highway Code for Kankakee County Line Road from Wilton Center Road to Illinois Route 1, County Board District 1, using MFT funds. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Collins. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Howard, second by Ms. Ogala. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 1668, supplemental resolution for improvement by the county under the Illinois Highway Code for Manhattan-Monee Road, County Board District 1, using additional motor fuel tax funds, County Board District 1. Move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Howard. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Ogala, second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Resolution 1669, authorizing approval of an agreement for purchase of wetland banking site credits with Wetlands Mitigation of Illinois, LLC, County Board District 2, using county MFT funds. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Rice. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Moran. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 1670, authorizing approval of MFT funds by the county under the Illinois Highway Code for purchase of wetland banking site credits on Laraway Road over the West Fork East Branch of Hickory Creek, County Board 2. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Collins. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Trainier. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Mr. Executive, we have a speaker signed up on the next resolution. Should I put this on the floor and then
Yes, move to, let's put it on the floor.
motion to move 1671 on the floor?
Yep, Move.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Freitag. We have a speaker that would like to talk. Move for.
Suspend the rules to allow a speaker to
Moved by
address the
Mr.
county
Gould,
board.
second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried. Mr. Shiner, would you like to come down and speak?
County Executive Walsh and Commissioners, thank you for allowing me to come here, one, not at the end of the meeting and a little earlier than that. I really appreciate that, and happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. I'm one of the partners in a shopping center, particularly because, by the way, this isn't on the agenda today, so I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm one of the partners on a shopping center on Weber Road, on 135th and Weber, in Romeoville, Illinois, which also happens to be a vacant Dominick's at this point in time, or an ex-Dominick's. Dominick's is not coming back. We're affected by the Weber Road road widening that obviously is something that's very important. And one of the things I'd like to make sure that everyone understands, I'm not here to talk about the engineering. I think both the state, Bruce Gould and his staff are outstanding. I think the state's engineers are outstanding, so this is not a comment. But there was a letter written by the mayor supporting what I'm about to say of Romeoville, Mayor Noak. And I think there's no other, along the 3-mile stretch, no other property is affected like we are. And I'm not here to talk, as I said, about the engineering or the competence of it, because I think the engineering is done very well. The impact, though, is that our access is really being affected to a point that we probably will be unable to release the vacant box. We have a lease with a drugstore to replace the old Dominick's gas station. They will not be going forward because of the access that is being proposed by the engineers. The ultimate effect, however it affects me really, since I don't live in Will County, may not be of interest, but it will have a devastating impact on the value. And if the county wishes to pay us that devastating impact, I guess that would be okay. Except the neighbors are really impacted because they'll be next to a vacant box in a vacant corner for an extended period of time. I think the village will be dramatically impacted because of the loss of both sales tax revenue and property tax revenue. And of course, paying back the ultimate cost of the Weber Road improvement needs to come out of those taxes and sales taxes. So even though it's not on the agenda today, what I'd ask is that we get together and common sense prevail and we actually look at solutions that we've proposed that don't affect safety, but clearly will affect some of the operations and may have slowing down some of that. The major concern, we've met with the county engineers and the state engineers. They have a mandate. We know what that mandate is. But we're hoping that common sense will prevail. That if we can find a solution that grants us access, that gives us the ability to lease, that it may have an operational impact but not a safety impact. We understand that. But we're hoping that common sense over the long term prevails. And we're hopeful that we can have that discussion. So I wanted to bring that out in the open. I'm not going to discuss the issues. I don't think the engineers want to. And again, this isn't a comment of engineering. This is a comment of a really material impact. And I thought I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth. We had a meeting. One of the concerns was precedent. This will be the last thing because I know this meeting's gone on too long. There's no question that you have to, as an engineer with a mandate, you have to have a concern about precedent. But I would argue over the 3-mile stretch, there's no asset that's affected the way we are. And the long-term impact is devastating. And so we're hopeful that somehow we can come to a resolution that will allow us to continue in business, that will not impact the neighboring residences, and that hopefully it will not affect the long-term ability to collect sale and property taxes. So I want you to be aware of that issue. I appreciate you giving me the time, and hopefully over the next year or however long this takes, it's something we can talk about. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second on Resolution 16-71. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Howard, second by Mr. Babbage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, that motion has been carried.
I have Resolution 1672, authorizing approval of an IDOT County Joint Agreement for improvements at the intersection of U.S. Route 6 and Gauger Road, County Board District 7 and 9. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Ballage, second by Ms. Collins. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 1673, authorizing approval of the expenditure of county motor fuel tax funds for improvement at the intersection of U.S. Route 6 with Gauger Road, County Board District 7 and 9. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Ballage, second by Ms. Ogala. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 1674, granting a temporary access permit for the DuPage River Trail on 95th Street, County Highway 89. Move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Collins, second by Ms. Hart. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Thank you for your attention. That concludes my report. Our next meeting is April 5th at 9 a.m.
Thank you very much, Don. Next up, Judicial Committee, Mr. Benefield, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning, Dave.
We have one resolution before us this morning. It's Resolution 1675. It's awarding the bid for body armor for the Sheriff's Department, and I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Benefield, second by Ms. Ogala. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Moran. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Our next scheduled Judicial Committee meeting is scheduled for April 5th at 9 a.m., and hope you can attend.
Thank you, Darren. Next up, Public Health and Safety Committee, Ms. Ogala, Chairperson.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judy.
This month, I don't have anything to bring forward, but we did have, our committee had a great presentation by Sue Olenek from the Health Department. There was quite a bit of concern after last year when we had the review of all the different programs that we have at the Health Department, and then we did determine that certain ones needed to be taken away because they were no longer needed and options were available within the county. So there was quite a bit of concern, so I had Sue come and give us a presentation on that. She went over all the different aspects of what the Health Department did when they reviewed each different program to determine whether or not it should be kept or not. I think that she answered a lot of questions, and I just want to thank Sue for having come and done that, and I think everyone's, had their answers. In addition to that, I will remind everybody until April 29th about our Hero and Will County Helps conference that we're having on April 29th at 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Edward Hospital Athletic and Event Center in Romeoville. And this year, the featured topics will be medication shopping and prescribing requirements, medication disposal, pharmacists dispensing naloxone, overdose reporting requirements, school awareness, and overdose prevention. And if for some reason you do not have a flyer like this, Anastasia's over there in the corner. She can wave. Please go get a flyer, put it up in your area, pass it out to your schools and churches so we can get everyone out to attend. This is a great event, and it's very, very informative for the community members as well. Thank you. And I just wanted to say the next Public Health and Safety Committee meeting is scheduled for April 7th at 9 a.m., and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Judy. Next up, Legislative and Policy Committee, Ms. Hart, Chairperson.
Thank you, Larry. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Now let's hope the luck of the Irish goes down to Springfield and back, correct? All right, we have just a couple of resolutions. The first will be Resolution 16-76, support for the destination of Kankakee River as National Water Trail. And I so move.
Moved by Ms. Hart, second by Ms. Freitag. Discussion?
Oh, I think Reagan would like to.
Go ahead. Oh.
I'm good now. I want to fully support this. I know Don and I both do, as well as my hometown city of Wilmington. They already passed a resolution supporting this. So I think this is a great push, and it's a great and a very important waterway for us. So just advocating that this is really important to our district. Thank you.
Reagan, thank you for putting that to our attention. After careful consideration, it was very important for your district. Thank you. The next resolution.
Nope. Slow down. We got a motion and a second on the floor. A previous roll moved by
Howard.
Mr. Howard, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion carried. Now continue, Suzanne.
Next is 16-77, amending Will County's 2016 state legislative agenda to add the reconstruction of the Lorenzo Road and Illinois 129 interchanges along I-55, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Hart, second by Ms. Rice. Any question? Oh, question, Judy Mugala?
Yeah, not necessarily a question. I just really want to make a comment. Since we're doing a great job by designating Kankakee River as a national water trail, I want to make sure that when we are putting in the Lorenzo Road interchange, which abuts right to the Kankakee River, that we take great care and where that road is placed and, create a good buffer zone for anything that might be a runoff before going into the river itself.
Thank you. Any other comments? Previous roll by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Freitag. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
And again, I want to say just a really quick, I am Don Gould had brought this to our attention, and I know did a lot of work before it, so this was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for all your efforts as well, and Representative Anthony, Senator Resin, all of us who attended that meeting that day. I think it was a great collaborative effort.
Absolutely. That worked out real well, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next Legislative and Policy Committee meeting is scheduled for April 12th, 9 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Next up, Capital Improvements Committee. Ms. Freitag, Chairperson.
Good morning, Larry. Good morning.
Morning.
County Board. We have 16-78, authorizing the county executive to execute a lease agreement for emergency management response vehicle storage facility. I so move.
Moved by Ms. Freitag, second by Ms. Parker. Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Howard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
My next resolution is 16-79, authorizing the county executive to negotiate a professional services agreement for construction management agency for the judicial complex. I so move.
Moved by Ms. Freitag, second by Ms. Fritz. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Tuminello, second by Mr. Balich. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Nancy, please show me the note.
Okay. Thank you, Larry. I just want to take a minute to thank everybody on the Capital Committee that participated in, and the committee that selected the construction manager. It was a long couple days, and I have learned so much from county board members that are in this area, from county board members that have been on the county board. It has been an awesome learning experience, and it's been wonderful working with the executive's office. It's been a great collaborative effort by all of us, and it's great that we can all take credit and be proud of what we're doing to create a safe and wonderful capital project for our constituents, for our employees, and I'm really excited moving forward on this. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Reagan.
Just a couple things. I know I mentioned the last county board that the county board has a team for Relay for Life, and there were flyers on your table to buy t-shirts. I bought mine today. I know Liz just gave me a check, so just contact Lana or Beth and they can help you out with that. In addition, we have an event coming up. It's being head up by the State's Attorney's Office. It's April 2nd. It's the Men Who Cook event, their annual event. I'm really excited. Mike Frizzle and I just got appointed as members or board members for the Child Advocacy Center. It's very near and dear to my heart as an attorney representing children and being a part of that, and they do such wonderful things. The event is amazing. We have, I think at this point, like 46 cooks. So I would encourage all of you to come out and eat a lot and have a good time. So save the date. Our next meeting is April 5th at 11 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Executive Committee, Mr. Mustis, Chairman.
Morning, Mr. Executive,
Morning,
County
Jim.
Board. First resolution today is 1680, voiding bid for solar rooftop project. I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Trainier, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yes, Singer.
Mr. Singer, would you like to be an aye on this? Thank you.
Next resolution will be 1681, authorize annual distribution of the waste management recycling payment to United Way of Will County, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Hart. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Mayor, second by Mr. Brooks. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
1682, authorizing Workforce Investment Board contract with Pullman North America, Inc. for a business grant for employee training, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Moran. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Babbage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
1683, authorize the renewal of the EMA participation in State of Illinois Federal Excess Property Program, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Hart. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
1684, I'm going to make a motion to remove this from the agenda so we can have further discussions. So I'm going to make a motion to remove 1684.
Second.
But moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Mayor. Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Trainier, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, we have 1685, replacement hires for the Animal Control Department. I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any discussion? Mr. Howard?
Yeah, animal control, they actually perform an important role Recently, and I would have never known this, but I was contacted recently by some individuals. When Balmoral Park closed, they left behind approximately 200 cats out there. So we got cats everywhere. So anyway, a portion of them went to animal control. There's rescue entities in there now or whatever, animal rescue. So I mean, you wouldn't even know it unless, something like this would happen. But again, animal control does perform a great function out there. And we actually have we've encountered now that basically people are actually turning horses loose out by us right now. So they'll actually come out there, open up a horse trailer and turn the horse loose. So actually, believe it or not, I mean, they're very costly to feed, that kind of stuff like that. So if anybody asks what animal control really does, I can give them a good explanation of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Where are we at here?
We have the motion for the mayor.
Motion on the floor. Previous roll by Mr. Mayor, second by Mr. Moran. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Next, we have 1686, replacement hire for the courier/mail clerk, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
The next executive committee meeting is scheduled for April 7th at 10 a.m. Next, I will make a motion to approve the appointments by the county executive.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Babbage, second by Ms. Stady Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
And that concludes the business of the executive committee, Mr. Executive.
Thank you, Jim. Next up is public comment. Anyone here wishing to speak? Gideon Bloomstein was signed up. Gideon, you have a comment to make?
Sell more real estate, is it?
Good morning. County Executive Walsh, Speaker Mustis, and members of the board, thank you for your time. I'm Gideon Bluestein, Government Affairs Director from the Three Rivers Association of Realtors, and I'm here today to congratulate and thank you for recognizing April as Fair Housing Month. I also want to share just a few seconds worth of information about realtor efforts to promote fair housing. As real estate professionals, realtors take the promotion of fair housing very seriously. Many of the ordinances, zoning, and legislative issues that we advocate for are rooted in the promotion of equal housing opportunities for all. In order to practice as a realtor, an individual must provide equal professional service without regard to race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, or sexual orientation of any prospective client, customer, or of the residents of any community. Also, we make it our responsibility to keep informed about fair housing law and practices, and we refuse to tolerate non-compliance. So those are just a few of the principles that realtors abide by to promote fair housing, and in fact, Article 10 of the Realtors Code of Ethics compels all realtors to conduct business in keeping with the spirit and letter of the law. So to that end, I would like to announce that we are sponsoring a City of Joliet Housing Expo, April 9th, to promote local housing stock and the City of Joliet's down payment assistance program. One of our partners was actually here earlier, the Will County Center for Community Concerns. The expo runs from 9 a.m. to noon at Joliet West High School and will provide attendees with the tools they need to become homeowners in Joliet. I've brought flyers if you would like some to share with your constituents. And again, I just want to thank you and congratulate you for recognizing Fair Housing Month in April and for the work that you do representing the people of Will County. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gideon. Thank you. Anyone else wish to make a public comment? Seeing none, I'll move on to announcements by the Republican Caucus Chair, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. So, a happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. I also want to reach across the aisle, the the other aisle this way and wish Happy St. Joseph's Day to the man in red over here. I know that, Mike doesn't have a whole lot of Irish blood, and since we won't have a meeting 2 days from now, which is St. Joseph's Day, I wore a tie that had both green and red in it, so that we made sure, and brought my little, well, I brought one hat, and then Suzanne gave me another hat, so I'm going to wear this one. And originally, I was going to read an Irish blessing that started, "May the road meet to rise you," but I think that one's already been done today.
Yeah.
So I have another one that actually may be a little bit more appropriate for this body. And it goes, "May the dreams you hold dearest be those which come true, and the kindness you spread keep returning to you." So a happy St. Patrick's Day. May everyone go out, be kind to others, because that's what we would like them to be for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chuck. That's one of your best. Now we'll move to the Democratic Caucus Chair, Mr. Brooks. Tough to
sure I can top that, but
yeah, that's
good
right.
morning.
But I'll let you wear my hat.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Executive, County Board, and all those that's still here. Let me begin by saying we had 4 good resolution proclamations, and I'm always excited about them. But the one that I read, the National Fair Housing, and Gideon just confirmed that. But Nancy, I have to ask for your forgiveness because I was trying to get through all the big words, but I didn't mention your name at the bottom, that it was attested by Nancy Schultz-Voos. And the reason why that's important, when I heard all those wonderful compliments, I better say your name. And then I want to add this. I am a precinct committeeman, and I was at my precinct at 7 o'clock when the last person voted. And the only complaint they had for me was I didn't get there early and buy them donuts. That's all they said. That's all they said. But when I saw them, I told them, I don't think you need donuts. But let me move on. Take that off television. Take that off television. Take that off. Let me move. Take that off. Edit that. About 18-minute gap in the meeting this morning. Some of them don't know about that. Let me close out.
Let me remind you of kindness.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to all my Irish friends. Next Friday is Good Friday, followed by Easter Sunday. Have a blessed and a safe holiday. God bless you all.
Thank you. We're next our County Board Speaker, Jim Eustace.
Well, still good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the County Board staff for all the work they've done for the month. I'd like to thank all the members for all the work they've done during the month. And now St. Patty's Day. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood that was primarily Irish and Italian. I love St. Patty's Day because I always ditched school with my Irish friends and went down to the parade. That back then was during the day, usually during the week. So I'm connected to St. Patrick's Day because I looked at it like, yeah, it's a holiday, and my parents let me cut school, you know. So, I was mentioning something the other day that I think I'd just like to tell a little story. We see we're in the election season. And by the way, Herb, the reason I was at 15 precincts is because I brought 15 precinct donuts. So you know, don't forget the donuts, you know. Yeah, 1 donut per precinct, no. We cut it up, no.
Conservative Republican here.
Yeah. But you know, we're in election season here, and now you hear a lot of different rhetoric and so forth. And congratulations to all those who had successful bids in their primaries. Primaries are always difficult for us electeds because it's kind of like you know, that inner squabbling within a family very often. But you know, I hear, especially on the national level, you know, this heroin epidemic, you know, and you know, across the country. 3 years ago, we did our annual trip to Washington, and much of our time is spent at agencies. And we were at the Department of Justice, And we brought up the problems with heroin, and we were told 3 years ago, I think it was 3, could have been 4, Nick, I know you were there. We were told, oh no, that's a Will County problem. That's a local problem. That's not a national problem. Well, obviously it's a national problem, but it also shows you how we, the local elected officials, the local community, how we're really in touch with what's really going on, and how Washington is always that lag behind. We're the ones who kind of set that tone. And the reason I'm mentioning this is that we, local folks, have to keep drumming with our federal representatives what's really going on. We're the boots on the ground folks. So it made me think about we need to perhaps ratchet that up a little bit. So remember, there's nobody who knows more about a community and what the real challenges are in a community and the real successes in a community like we do as local representatives. Even more so sometimes than state representatives. And so we need to be the loud voice for the people. And so I guess it's my way of saying maybe we need to get a little bit louder with both state and local, state and federal, excuse me. We have this impasse in Springfield, which really, to me, has almost gotten to the point of being ridiculous. And this is on both sides of the aisle, folks. It's not like there's one over the other. You know, you have two sides being very stubborn and getting nothing done for the people. We now are getting affected here in Will County. You've seen in our Finance Committee report, you know, we had to pass a resolution to give a temporary loan to the health department. Crucial services deal with public health, especially, you know, I think we'll get through it. The health department, I think, will get money eventually. But it's just a shame that we're not getting these, the things done for the people. But I think it's we now have to be the big voice. We just can't sit here and go, oh, well, we're waiting for Springfield or we're waiting for Washington. So let's start speaking a little louder, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, because they're all at fault. Or they're just as stubborn. I don't want to say fault. They're all one as stubborn as the next. So let's be a louder voice. I went on much longer than I wanted to. The only other thing I wanted to mention, for those of you who are on the selection committee for the commissioning agent, you know, head right to the county board meeting room. We are due to, we potentially going to start at 11:30. We're going to try to get you out of here as quickly as we can. So head right to the executive, to the county board office. Thank you, Mr. Executive. And go White Sox, go Cubs. Come on, Hawks, get it back in gear. You know, let's have I'm looking forward to a spring baseball. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jim. I wish everybody a very blessed Easter season, and we'll stand at recess until Thursday, April 21 at 9:30 in the morning.
Okay.